Ooh, what's up, everybody? Probably not the best idea to try to do that when you have smoke in your mouth. Welcome back to more of the WWE versus TEW series. The weekly series that's not so weekly, where we take the events and shows that the WWE books, run them in the game to see just how well WWE does against TEW, or if Total Extreme Wrestling will be the company that brings the WWE down to its knees. Let's adjust the mic here for a second. Today, we've got the September 18th edition. I literally just recorded Raw, so I should remember off the top of my head. But let's go to the handy-dandy notebook here that's in my hand and not on the screen. Yep, September 18th edition of Smackdown Live. Main evented by Asuka versus Billie Kay. Yep. It's one of those shows that really didn't have a main event. The main event is an angle, but that's not how it works on our show. Main event is the final match of the night. And, well, the main event is a 4-minute match between Asuka and Billie Kay. So without further ado, let us jump right in on this show, shan't we? So we start off the night with a 58 C- rating here as we get a recap of the Charlotte versus Becky Lynch match from Hell in a Cell, where Becky Lynch beat Charlotte to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then we also hype up the fact that tonight Becky Lynch will have her championship coronation. 67 C+ rating as we open up the show as well with Miz TV. Miz starts off Miz TV with a huge announcement as he announces that at the Super Showdown it'll be him, the Miz, taking on Daniel Bryan. And that's not the big announcement. The big announcement is that whoever wins Miz v. Bryan at Super Showdown will go on to face the WWE Champion, whether it be AJ Styles or Samoa Joe. So my best guess is if Samoa Joe wins, we'll probably see Daniel Bryan face at Samoa Joe. And if AJ Styles wins, then we'll probably see Miz versus AJ, which is what they should do. I honestly feel like Miz should be the one to take the title off of AJ, and then you build towards like Bryan and Miz at WrestleMania. That's what they should build towards, but we'll see what they end up doing. That's honestly what they'll most likely end up doing. Then it was also announced that his guest tonight is going to be none other than Mother of the Year, one half of the A-list couple. I forget what they call themselves, honestly, to be honest, off the top of my head. Nonetheless, Maurice is going to be his guest here tonight. They go back and forth on, Brie and Bryan and whatnot. Eventually, Bryan comes out to confront the two. He goes right after Miz. They kind of have a little bit of a brawl. He drop kicks the Miz. Miz lands into Maurice's belly. She's not pregnant anymore, but I guess because she was previously pregnant, there's some sort of problems there. Could be. I'm not a female. I don't know. Nonetheless, though, Bryan is definitely worried about Maurice. He's worried. Miz goes to grab her some water, and during the whole time he's grabbing water, Maurice, smiles at Bryan, and it's pretty much the hint that this was all a ploy. Miz goes after Bryan and tries to hit him with the skull-crushing finale from behind, but Bryan sees it coming, and he ends up fighting Miz off and stands tall as Miz and Maurice have to retreat pretty much. This got the crowd hot. Miz came across well. Maurice was very underwhelming, but what can you say? Solid 60 rated C. Solid 60 rated C. We said that right. Rated angle here as we hype up the fact that Becky Lynch will still have her title coronation tonight, and also AJ Styles will battle Andrade Cien Almas, and Kofi Kingston will battle Cesaro in one-on-one action, and that's next. But before they get to the match, apparently the New Day, dressed in like some Australian garb because, well, Super Showdown's coming up, they're searching backstage. I don't know what or for who, but they're searching. 53 C- as we hype up the fact that indeed it will be the New Day defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against The Bar at the Super Showdown event in Melbourne, Australia. 67 C+ rating as the New Day and The Bar kind of trade words back and forth over the mic. New Day kind of poke fun at Cesaro's enormous, they were going to say his enormous pizza nipples or whatever the hell John Cena called them back in the day because, well, John Cena poked fun at Cesaro's nipples back in the day. But Cesaro cuts them off. He tells them it's not funny. They kind of go back and forth until we eventually jump into our title match here. Or not title match, but our matchup here between Kofi and Cesaro. it goes ahead and starts the official feud between New Day and The Bar as we build towards Super Showdown. Let's get to our matchup here. Oh, never mind. Before we can get to the matchup, we have part 2 of episode 4 of John Cena and Friends. Last time we left you off with a little bit of a decision-making time for John Cena. John Cena asked Bret, why do you hate Shawn so much? What did Shawn ever do to you? And excuse me, no one cares about you can install updates. Now we're going to pull this thing up. How embarrassing. Calm down, Windows. Don't be doing shit when I'm recording. Why do you always pick the worst time, especially during an episode of John Cena and Friends? You should be ashamed of yourself. Nonetheless, last episode, Bret Hart ends up pouring his whole heart out. Didn't mean to, no pun intended. Pulls his whole heart out to John Cena, explaining, everything what Shawn Michaels has done to him, and leaving John Cena off where he has to pretty much make a decision. And now we pick back up to the decision here. Is John Cena going to side with Shawn Michaels and fight for his right to, hunt on the Hart family land? Or is he's going to side with Bret and say, Shawn, maybe we should go somewhere else? And he chooses neither. He tries to play the middleman. He understands that Bret Hart has had his issues with Shawn in the past, but he says the past is the past. What we need to do is we need to make it up. And he goes, and I think the best way to make this up is by having a competition. And Bret, of course, is very hesitant about the competition at first. He doesn't want to do it. Last time they were in competition, Shawn Michaels cheated. What's to say he's not going to cheat this time? And John Cena says it's because of him. Because Cena has also almost been screwed over by Vince McMahon himself by another, Vince McMahon pretty much referencing the whole CM Punk thing and Vince trying to, call for the bell to ensure Cena wins, but Cena not letting it happen. Cena is all about being, hustle, loyalty, respect. He has respect for Michaels, respect for Bret Hart. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of a hunting competition here between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart to see who can out-hunt each other. And at the end of the day, of course, they're going to tie, and they're going to realize that, maybe they have a little bit more in common than they thought, as, they had to spend all this time with each other in the hunting in the wilderness and whatnot. You know what I mean. Nonetheless, episode ends with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart burying the hatchet, so to say. And, John Cena being sent on his way as new buddies Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart embrace each other, I guess. So, there you have it, 98.7 A-star for a very heart-wrenching episode of John Cena and Friends, I may add. We then come back to our normal scheduled network or program. That's what it is, our scheduled program here. 73 B- rating here. We have a decent matchup as Cesaro goes over Kofi Kingston in 6 minutes, 19 seconds with a neutralizer. Xavier Woods doing some good work ringside. I think Big E had negative chemistry with Kofi, so I went ahead and took him off and added Xavier on him instead. 73 B-, I think I mentioned that already, though. Cesaro is getting better at his gimmick, and here's something interesting. Kofi Kingston and Cesaro have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance, so they got the Tony the Tiger performance here tonight. This match did get the crowd hotter. Kofi Kingston with an in-ring performance of a 69. Cesaro with a 61. Gaining heat for the New Day Bar storyline in the process as well. Kingston improving in his performance. All in all, good stuff, guys. Good way to open up the show, I guess. It's not really the opening of the show, but opening match at least. 68 C+ rating as backstage. Rusev blames Aiden English kind of for the loss in the tag team title match at Hell in a Cell. And pretty much says that, of course, he's going to win tonight because Aiden's not in the match. He ends up walking away. Aiden very frustrated at the fact that, Rusev is blaming him once again. Aiden did his best. He tried his best. And if you ask my honest opinion, Rusev's the reason they lost, not Aiden English. Some people might, bring up the fact, Aiden blind tagged himself in when Rusev was ready to end the match. That's how the match was going. They were doing that the entire time, tag after tag after tag. Like Corey Graves explained it. Aiden was just in the moment. He was just thinking that's what they were doing. That's why to him, he wasn't like, Rusev, get out. He was like, hey, Rusev, come on, man. You do your thing and I'll do my thing. Like, it wasn't like, all right, Rusev, you get out of here. It's my time to shine. No. And then he was looking for Rusev to tag again. Like, all right, come on, let's tag out. And he was like, where you at, dude? Like, we had a strategy. Like, and then Rusev just came right back in like nothing was wrong. How dare he blame Aiden English? If anybody, it was Rusev. If I say it was Rusev. Nonetheless, though, Aiden English very upset. He starts to vent his frustration, how pretty much Rusev Day is all because of him, which he's not wrong. If it wasn't for his singing, will we ever had a Rusev Day? He blames Lana, because if Lana was more of a manager and less of a wife and all this stuff, he just goes off. Unfortunately for Aiden English, Lana overheard everything. I'd honestly assume that Lana was probably coming back to apologize to Aiden, like, hey, look, Rusev's just, he's very competitive, something. I like to think that Lana was actually coming back to apologize until she overheard what Aiden was saying, because why else would she come back? She walked away with Rusev. Why else would she just come back? I'm under the belief that she came back to apologize and unfortunately heard what Aiden had to say, and well, that didn't go too well for him because, unfortunately, I forgot to make Rusev a better face. That was something I meant to do, but well, we'll see how it goes. So Lana is going to pretty much tell Rusev what Aiden had to say, but that might not be the best idea since Rusev's got a U.S. Championship match coming up, by the way, if you were wondering why Shinsuke Nakamura was featured in this angle. Aiden's not suited to his gimmick. That'll change once we turn him. And despite I really should have fixed Rusev and Lana's face skills, but I just forgot to. We'll do it later, but it might not even matter later. Not yet. 74 B- rating, as we have a little bit of a, commotion going on in the production bus or whatever, as Randy Orton back there kind of forcing one of the production assistants, who's only one back there, by the way. I mean, where the hell is everybody else? You mean to tell me that this one guy runs the whole production bus? Orton's pretty much demanding him to replay footage from Hell in a Cell to get, so he can watch back what he did to Jeff Hardy, because, well, he just likes it. He enjoys it. That's Randy Orton. He's that sicko, 74 B- for that. 70 C+ rating as we get a recap of the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And then a 70 C+ as Dasha Fuentes gets AJ Styles' reaction from the Hell in a Cell controversy. Where I was trying to figure out what the controversy was off the top of my head, but it was when, AJ got the pin but tapped pretty much at the same time and the referee didn't see him tap out. AJ just pretty much says, after what Joe said about my family and all that, you got to do what you got to do to win, pretty much. So AJ Styles, he doesn't care. Solid 80 B rating here as we hype up our Universal title match for Crown Jewel, which will see Roman Reigns defending his championship against Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. 62 solid C rating here as Lana tries to talk to Rusev before the match, but Rusev tells her, not now. I'm in the zone. I'm in the zen. So Lana can't get it off, and Aiden and Lana are just kind of like, they're at their ends right now. Rusev tells Aiden, do the honors, pretty much, telling him, go ahead and introduce me. So for the little bit of a spoiler, but like I said, this is a couple of days behind on, I said it in Monday Night Raw. This is a couple weeks behind, not days. So a little bit of a spoiler, but for the last time ever, most likely, it's Rusev Day. Yeah. 67 C+ for Aiden English there. All right. So we jump into our United States Championship matchup here. 71 B- rating and a decent matchup. Shinsuke Nakamura goes over Rusev in 9 minutes 34 seconds after Rusev was distracted by Aiden English. Nakamura makes his second defense of the U.S. Championship. Rusev all ready to win the match. Throughout the entirety of the match, Aiden was just kind of one-upping Lana, trying to show his full and undivided support for Rusev Day. And he gets a little too excited at one point as Rusev is getting ready for the Machka kick. Looks like he's about to beat Shinsuke Nakamura. In fact, this was a great match. At one point, Nakamura was looking for like a Kinshasa, and Rusev caught him with the Machka kick. That was a great counter. But Aiden English gets a little ahead of himself, gets up on the mic, or on the apron, I should say, with the mic in hand, and starts chanting, Rusev Day, Rusev Day, distracting Rusev in the process. Not sure why. I mean, you're all for the crowd chanting Rusev Day, but Aiden can't chant it, and you get distracted by him? Like, come on, Rusev, focus on the match. Nonetheless, though, the distraction proves to be the arrow in Rusev's Achilles heel as Nakamura rolls him up for the pinfall to retain the championship. Rusev and Lana have good chemistry. Ignore the face turns. Yeah, they're bad, but whatever, we got to do it. Aiden's not suited to his gimmick. That should change here in just a moment. Rusev with an in-ring performance of a 67. Shinsuke Nakamura with a 74. Gaining heat for the end of the Rusev Day storyline. Rusev's improving in his technical. And as we move on to our next segment here, We get ourselves a 71 B- rating as finally, after weeks and weeks of frustration, it would seem, as Aiden tried his damnedest, to put it all into Rusev Day and just not getting the appreciation he deserved. Aiden English, with mic in hand, jumps Rusev from behind, smashes it practically over his head. I mean, the WWE piece of the mic was like shattered off. Lana just kind of stands in the back, just looking angry. Lana, in my opinion, kind of ruined this angle in a way. Like, she didn't ruin it to the point where it was skewered, but she ruined it because she looked more angry and less worried. I mean, your husband just got beat down in front of you, and yeah, I guess you're angry at what Aiden had to say and how he got the upper hand on you at the end of the day, but that's your husband. I was expecting her to be a little bit more, like, worried about Rusev and less more about Aiden getting the one-upmanship here. Also, I feel like she kind of ruined, maybe not her, this is a little minor detail as well, but Aiden, of course, at one point says in the mic, it's Rusev, or Happy Rusev Day, or something like that. I kind of wish Aiden would have looked at Lana when he said it and then dropped the mic right there, I thought that would have been a little bit more effective. Nonetheless, though, Aiden English, I'm not going to say, I mean, yeah, in a way, I guess he turns heel because Rusev Day has been faces, kind of, sort of, even though they never officially turned face, but the fans were all for them. But this is, I guess, more Rusev and Lana's official turns to face, so Aiden is not going to change his gimmick, or his turn. We're just going to be... There's also a turn set to happen for Aiden English. Performing the turn would automatically include the gimmick, which is usually preferable. Would you still like to just do the gimmick change? Yes, because Aiden is not turning. We are canceling this turn. He is staying a heel. So Aiden's new gimmick is an arrogant gimmick. Apparently it was too soon after his last one, but it still got an above average, so you can't complain. I mean, it still did better. He's no longer going to get that stupid, he's not suited to his gimmick thing. So Aiden English stays a heel. And we could... No, we don't want... Okay, no, here we go. I was like, we don't want to do Aiden. So let's go ahead and complete the turn for Rusev. It didn't go down particularly well, most likely because, he's not a good face. And Lana, her turn went pretty well. So she's a better face, I'm assuming, so that's probably why it happened. Rusev, not too good as a face. So that's why that done. We're definitely going to edit Rusev as a face, so let's do Rusev/face, because he definitely can play a face better than what it's saying he is, but it did compromise his turn, unfortunately. So let's move forward. So there you have it. Aiden English turns on Rusev Day. It's official, and I was kind of right. I expected it to happen at the pay-per-view, but they held off for Smackdown, and I've got to say, it was probably a little bit more powerful on Smackdown. Great angle, and I really hope that this helps boost Aiden English up. I know it's more meant to help boost Rusev up, but this, in my opinion, is exactly what Aiden also needs. Like, Aiden could be a solid mid-card hand if they, book him right. But unfortunately, the mid-card's kind of reserved for, like, the main event now as well. It's like, whatever main eventer isn't holding the World Championship gets a shot at the mid-card title. I mean, Nakamura and Seth Rollins are more main eventers, if you ask me, than mid-carders, yet here they are holding the mid-card titles. So, what can you do? Not even upper mid-carders, just main eventers holding championships now. I'm not sure what that was that I just skipped over. It was something. You guys saw it. I can't remember what it was. I kind of just went over it without even really reading it. Nonetheless, though, probably hyping up that this match was next or something. 71 B- rating, as this is kind of the first official time these two have faced in this save. They have fought in the previous save, but since we have traded over, this is the first official time they have fought each other. But I believe it's like, yeah, it's the second time they have fought each other. So 71. I almost said 76. 71 B- rating here. We have a decent matchup. AJ Styles goes over Andrade Cien Almas in 14 minutes 54 seconds with the Styles Clash. Great matchup. These two have some good chemistry. Maybe it's just that they're just great wrestlers, though, too. Back and forth. Andrade looked like $1,000,000. This match, in my opinion, was definitely the match of the night. Obviously, TEW thinks it was Cesaro and Kingston, but this was definitely the match of the night. These two guys killed it in the ring, and they killed it last time they fought, too. Andrade, he's getting a rocket strapped onto him. Apparently, he's one of the favorites to win the Rumble. I've been keeping him strong in every match he's been in, pretty much, to kind of show that he is, getting a push as well, despite losing. Because he is in there with guys like Daniel Bryan and AJ, so he's going to show his best. But nonetheless, though, AJ Styles with an in-ring performance. of a 79. Andrade Cien Almas with a 56. No worker improvements. And then afterwards, a 68C+ as Samoa Joe comes out to attack AJ from behind after the match is over. But AJ Styles is able to fight Samoa Joe off and send him, pretty much fleeing into the crowd as he stands tall in the middle of the ring with his mind now cleared as he's pretty much, I guess, now thinking of his steps before taking them. And then we also hype up the fact that at the Super Showdown, AJ Styles will defend his championship against Samoa Joe. So there's that. 44 solid D rating as Naomi and Asuka walk towards the entryway as Asuka will be in action next against Billie Kay. The Iconics, of course, come down to do their normal, spiel, but they don't get to talk for long before they are interrupted by Naomi. 44 solid D rating for that. Billie Kay not suited to her gimmick, but maybe I should go ahead and change her gimmick because worst comes to worst, she just, gets a poor gimmick or something, but I don't really, it matches like her current rating on her impressionist gimmick, but it says it's like too soon. I don't want to bury her right off the back because in a way her impressionist, I don't know the word, it's kind of accurate as well. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with Billie Kay's gimmick. Right now I might just leave it alone. No worker improvements here as we jump into our matchup. Oh no, we don't. Before we jump into the matchup, we hype up the fact that at Super Showdown, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce return home as they'll team up in tag team action against Asuka and Naomi. 40 D- for that. And now we jump into the matchup, which gets a 56 C- rating, and about to add subpar wrestling to it and a little heat. Asuka goes over Billie Kay in 1 minute 55 seconds with the Asuka lock. And by the way, guys, it's main event time. This was our main event of the night. Minute 55 seconds. Asuka makes quick work of Billie Kay. Peyton doing some good work ringside. Asuka with an in-ring performance of a 59. Billie Kay with a 38. No worker improvements. And then a 52 D+ as we hype up the fact that Becky Lynch's championship coronation is next. And we end off the show with Becky Lynch's championship coronation. 71 B- rating here as Charlotte comes out to pretty much pay her respect towards Becky as Becky kind of called her out. Becky wasn't going to let Charlotte take her time on a pay-per-view. She earned that time, but she can, raise her hand now. She's just kind of poking fun at Charlotte, saying, hey, you don't have to raise my hand. You could put the title around my waist instead. Never mind. Why don't you just call me Queen instead? Really just playing with Charlotte's emotions as Charlotte, trying to be the bigger woman here, paying respect towards Becky Lynch. She eventually has enough of it, and her and Becky just end up brawling it out. Becky's able to get the upper hand on Charlotte, though, and ends up winning the brawl and walks away standing tall as Charlotte just kind of stays in the ring, selling her injuries. So Becky Lynch looked very good here tonight. Of course, Paige was here to just kind of introduce them, but nothing too special for her. Gained heat for the Charlotte-Becky Lynch storyline. Apparently it deserved better announcing. And what do we got here? Paige. She's not suited to her rebel gimmick, so we're changing her to an authority figure because, well, she's an authority figure. She got an above average rating on it. Good for Paige. So we end off the show and we get ourselves a solid 80 B rating. I think that's the exact same rating for Monday Night Raw. So solid 80 B rating, increasing our popularity in 24 regions. Not too shabby, not too shabby as we start building our way towards the Super Showdown. But of course, we got to get through 205 Live, NXT, Mae Young Classic, and everything else. So we've got a ways to go, at least on my end of the spectrum here. I mentioned in the Monday Night Raw video that I'll most likely only get Raw and SmackDown up for you guys today because I still got to watch, 205 Live, the Mae Young Classic, and NXT. And with my work scheduling right now, I just really haven't found the time to sit down and watch that. So I'll probably get 205 Live, NXT, and the Mae Young Classic all up for you guys tomorrow, while SmackDown and Raw will be up today. So that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name has been OMGWTF, LOLFTWBRB, and I will see you guys for 205 Live, Mae Young Classic, NXT. Whenever I see you next, I'll see you then. Have a great day, guys.